history has been made.The seemingly impossible has played out before the eyes of the world. In a luxury hotel on an island off the coast of Singapore, Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un concluded a lengthy, apparently warm summit that the US president said had gone better anybody could have expected. In scenes that were little short of stunning, Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim, who just months ago appeared to be pushing the Korean peninsula towards the prospect of conflict, shook hands, strolled together and spoke of the weight and responsibility their encounter bore with it. Mr. Trump gave the dictator a brief but unmistakable thumbs up. It is going great, Mr. Trump told reporters after completing the best of 4 hours of contact, including a working lunch on the Singaporean island of Sentosa. He added, "A really fantastic meeting. A lot of progress. Really very positive. I think better than anybody could have expected." Top of the line. Really good. It may be that Tuesday's meeting transpires to have been nothing more than a dramatic photo opportunity for the North Korean leader. Yet it could be the day that results in establishing the most significant geopolitical shift in relations between the US and an Asian nation since Richard Nixon visited China in 1972. That day began with the two men shaking hands outside the Capella hotel. The Associated Press said their handshake lasted 13 seconds, others said it was 10. Either way, it was long and seemingly warm, and was followed by another set of smiles for the cameras before the two men, alone with their translators, talked for 45 minutes. In an assessment that may have global ramifications, Mr. Trump said he had forged good relationship with the man 37 years younger than himself and the ruler of a nation with an appalling human rights record. After initial exchanges lasting around 40 minutes, Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim emerged, walking side by side through the colonnaded hotel before entering a meeting room where they were joined by their most senior officials. Mr. Kim was heard telling the US president through a translator, "I think the entire world is watching this moment. Many people in the world will think of this as a scene from a fantasy.science fiction movie." Asked by a reporter how the meeting was going, Mr. Trump said, "Very good. Very good. Good relationship." Mr. Kim also sounded positive about the prospects.Singapore summit, historic first meeting between Trump and Kim Jong-un. 20 show all Singapore summit, historic first meeting between Trump and Kim Jong-un. 1/20th Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim leave following their historic meeting. AFP Getty 2/20th Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim sign a document committing to peace between their nations, amongst other things. EPA 3/20th Mr. Trump holds up a document that both he and Mr. Kim have signed. AFP Getty 4/20th the two leaders reach out to shake hands for the first time. AP 5/20th Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim shake hands as they meet for the first time. Reuters 6/20th Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim walk off stage following their historic meeting. Reuters 7/20th Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim take a stroll after their meeting on June 12. Reuters 8/20th Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim interrupt their stroll to talk to the media. AP 9/20th Mr. Kim and Mr. Trump look out over a balcony at the Capella Hotel, where they held their meeting on June 12. Reuters 10/20th Mr. Trump takes questions at the press conference following his meeting with Mr. Kim. AP 11/20th Mr. Trump appreciates the crowd in the press conference following his meeting with Mr. Kim. Getty 12/20th Mr. Trump travels to the Astana ahead of the summit with Kim Jong-un on June 12. Reuters 13/20th Kim Jong-un travels to the Astana ahead of the summit with President Trump on June 12. Reuters 14/20th Mr. Kim poses for a photo with Singapore's Finance Minister Vivian Balakrishnan and Education Minister Ong Ye Kung ahead of the summit with Mr. Trump. Twitter. Reuters 15/20th Mr. Trump shakes hands with Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, meeting on Monday, June 11th in the Astana, Singapore's presidential palace. AP 16/20th at a working lunch on Monday, Singapore's Prime Minister surprised Mr. Trump with a birthday cake in early celebration of his 72nd birthday. Later in the week. EPA 17/20th US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo answers questions about the summit at a press briefing in Singapore on Monday, June 11. Getty 18/20. U.S. President Donald Trump arrives at the Paya Lebar Air Base in Singapore on June 10, 2 days prior to his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Reuters 19/20. Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim met on Tuesday, June 12 in the Capella Hotel on the island resort of Sentosa, just off the south coast of Singapore. AFP Getty 2020. Mr. Trump boards Air Force One following the summit. AFP Getty. We overcame all kinds of skepticism and speculations about this summit, and I believe that this is good for the peace, he said. I believe this is a good prelude for peace. The U.S. leader was joined by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, National Security Advisor John Bolton, and John Kelly, White House Chief of Staff, for the expanded talks, while Kim's team included former military intelligence chief Kim Yong-chol, Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho and Ri Su-yong, Vice Chairman of the ruling Workers' Party. After the meetings, the two teams and other senior officials met for a working lunch where beef short ribs, sweet and sour pork and digu jorman, or Korean braised cod, were served for the main course, according to the menu. That was to be followed by dark chocolate tarts, pastries and vanilla ice cream for dessert. The North Korean leader's sister and close confidant, Kim Yo-jong, was among the lunch party, Reuters noted. As the cameras captured the moment, Mr. Trump said, "Very nice. Getting a good picture everyone, so we all look nice and handsome and thinned. Perfect." After they finished their working lunch, the two men appeared for the cameras to sign a document. A senior U.S. official said it would underscore the progress they have made that day between the two historic foes. Mr. Kim is due to leave on Tuesday afternoon, a source involved in the planning of his visit has said. Meanwhile, the White House said that Mr. Trump was leaving Singapore early because negotiations had moved more quickly than expected. The unfolding summit was a remarkable change in dynamics from less than a year ago, when Mr. Trump was threatening fire and fury against Kim, who in turn scorned the American president as a mentally deranged U.S. dotard.